Good morning, Nudelberg Daily Huddle. It's Tuesday. Let's go.
Or an extension of Monday, or it's early Wednesday. Who knows?
What we know is that when you focus on the process, when you focus on the activities, the day of the week does not matter. It's the activity that matters. And that's
Exactly
why we're
right.
here, to share the joy of the doing with you guys.
Somebody asked me, like, when do you sleep? And I go, who wants to sleep, man? It's sleep, nothing happening, man. You know, what the shit is going on, man? Let's go. Let's go, man.
When you saw me accept the invite at 4 o'clock this morning, you were like, nice. See
that? So, you know, sometimes you get it delayed, and I was like, is he up? You know, so nice little interlude. You scared me, man. I was up since 3, and you scared me. All of a sudden, I got an inbound, you know, and I forgot to turn off the ringer. So I went, ding, you know, like, what is that, man? Good for you. So 4 is the new norm for you?
4 is the new norm. 4
is
when the alarm is set. And it's been the movement. So good morning to everybody. Greg Goldstein, Jim Barrett talking about go vote. We're going to talk about that later. Good morning, Jeremy. Good morning, Kasim. Glad to have you guys in the huddle. Shay, let's get to some morning motivational music.
Let's do it.
And washed it away down the kitchen sink. The dog days are over. So you better run fast for your mother, run fast for your father, run for your children, for your sisters and brothers. Leave all your love and your lonely behind. You can't carry it with you if you want to survive. The dog days are over, the dog days are done. Can you hear the dog days? 'Cause here they come.
Oh, how do you like that?
I love that for a start.
I mean, that is a little Florence in the morning.
Good editing. That was good editing.
Well done to Shay. Round of applause for Shay for the great section of the song that he pulled. Excellent execution on that. And that is Florence and the Machine, for those of you who don't know. And the dog days. If you are in the dog days, we might have a report for you that will help you get out of your dog days. We're going to talk about purpose and a report that McKinsey put out when we get to the end of the show.
Gotta love that content. That one came across my desk. Really, really dug it. Good morning, Patrick Tinney. Patrick Tinney is coming to us from Buckhorn, Canada. He's a friend of mine, a fellow author who writes pretty much in the space of negotiation, some really, really good shit, and he'll be on my show soon. So welcome, good morning, Patrick Tinney, to the Daily Huddle.
So our intro has become pretty, you know, it's become something of that people talk about, the morning motivational music. Today in 1994, another iconic intro happened. Friends debuted on NBC. Shay, take us to Friends.
There's some young folks on that screen, man.
How about that? Like Matthew Perry, Matt LeBlanc, like those guys are looking young. Even
well, that song too. You know, I'll be there for you, man. It's like, you know, that one will stick. That's a sticker right there. Nice. That's a little nice.
Yeah.
So that debuted in 1994. which is insanity, man. It's
Years ago.
1994.
I mean,
That picture I posted the other day
was it the peak of sitcom TV? Was it?
I don't even know what you're saying. How about you let me talk? I let you talk. What do you want to do?
Sure, go ahead.
I said I posted the picture the other day. It was 1989. That was, shortly thereafter. It's hard to believe that, life existed then, so sorry to interrupt.
You're good. So gotta love Friends, and shout out to one of our friends because it is his birthday today, Mr. Fro Pro himself, Matt Williams. Great dude. For those of you who don't know Matt, he's a local entrepreneur located in Boca. Really well involved within the community. He's a Lululemon ambassador. He owns Fro Pro, runs Fro Pro, the snack bar, which is unbelievable if you haven't had that. So shout out to Matt. He does some great stuff, and you don't know him, you should get connected.
He's a real innovative guy, really, on his own roadmap. I was actually at an investment event in Boca a couple of years back. Michelle and I were there. We had the chance. He was one of the speakers, and I went up to him afterwards and I said, listen, I come to this stuff all the time. You broke the clutter. You did a great job. We've been friends ever since, and now it's great to see you, friends. Speaking of entrepreneurs, we welcome John Duffy from 3C Interactive to the party. He is one of Boca's finest. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the Nudelberg Huddle, John Duffy.
Good morning, John. Glad to have you in the group. And then today is National Voter Registration Day. So for those of you who have not taken care of your registration or need to update it, get out there, get what you need to get done, make sure your information is up to date, you know where to go. And I mean, Gabby and I did the primaries through the mail. It was the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
So I highly suggest that if you're not doing that, get signed up for the vote by mail because it's absolutely too simple.
And the reality is, if you want to have a voice, don't bitch and then tell me you didn't vote. If you got an opinion, express your opinion through whoever you want to vote for, but get out there and make it real.
So shout out to Jimbo for saying go vote because today is National Voter Registration Day. And so keeping with the theme of government and National Vote Day, we lost an iconic woman last week. We haven't had a chance to talk about it yet, but the notorious RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, passed away last week on Rosh Hashanah, which, I mean, that is like as high a praise as you can get in the tribe. So wanted to just talk about her a little bit and go through some of her highlights because but before you jump in there for a second, I'm not the most worldly guy. I have my issues with current events. I thought that was the quarterback for the Redskins. That'd be RG3.
Oh, sorry. There you go.
So doing our part to make sure that we give respect to RBG because of all of the things that she accomplished. But for those of you who are unfamiliar with her story, she really put gender equality on the map. She pushed and pushed for it. She is a lady who comes from Harvard Law, Columbia Law, started on full scholarship at Cornell, got her first teaching job at the University of Rutgers. So shout out to Taekwon Underwood, who I coached with, who is a Rutgers legend, and did unbelievable.
Let's not forget, she hails from Brooklyn. All of the great ones hail from Brooklyn, man. Come on, baby.
There you go. She hails from Brooklyn. And, Jimmy Carter appointed her to the U.S. Court of Appeals. And then Bill Clinton appointed her to the Supreme Court in 93. And she has been known as a pragmatic liberal with keen attention to detail. And I think those descriptive words to describe somebody, pragmatic liberal, I think, especially in politics, we get caught up in getting extreme and being extremes on both sides. To be a pragmatic liberal, and then obviously the attention to detail, which we talk about all the time, is so critical to success. So
one of the things that, when people talk about obstacles that are in the way of where you want to grow and, female and Jewish for the roadmap she went was like just waiting for the third strike, So she certainly built her own roadmap and has taken, women and women's rights along with her. Shout out to Kim Swears, who's in the huddle this morning with her mom, watching with her mom. So a big shout out to mom this morning.
Hi, Kim's mom. Good morning. And so I wanted to jump into some of her quotes because obviously she was really well known, but she became a cultural icon because of the way she would present herself, because of the way she talked about dissent and what it meant to, she says, I dissent. She would say, I dissent instead of I respectfully dissent, because she felt that the respectfully was unnecessary. She wasn't doing it in a way that was disrespectful. So she didn't find that as a thing that she needed to say. So I'm going to go through some quotes, just throw them out at you. You can tell me what you feel, but I'll start with this one. To make a life a little better for people less fortunate than you. That's what I think a meaningful life is. One lives not just for oneself, but for one's community. So for somebody who's on the Supreme Court, I'm glad that that's the person that was there, because that's what I want them to believe.
And by the way, success leaves clues. That's a good one to hang on your mantle and say, what am I doing for somebody else today? Zig Ziglar, who we talked about last week. Come on, man. This is all about, what you do for others, So you can have anything you want in life and you help other people get theirs.
And this is what I love. Like we're talking about Zig Ziglar, who was a motivational speaker, tried to really move the sales profession forward. We're talking about the second woman on the Supreme Court, a cultural icon when it comes to gender equality, yet they both talk about the same thing fundamentally. Do you have these in front of you? Do you want to go back and forth, or you just want me to go through them?
Yeah. About women on the court, when I'm sometimes asked, when will there be enough women on the court? My answer is when there are 9, which is really, people are shocked that there are 9 men and nobody's ever raised a question like that. And
right.
So, why wouldn't there be 9 women? Listen, and this is not bullshit. This is reality, because I'm living proof of it. Behind every great man is a better woman. And, she did that for her husband. She did that for our country. So I'm glad we're shouting her out today.
So about marriage and work, it helps sometimes to be a little deaf in marriage and in every workplace, including the good job I have now. So not everything deserves a response. Sometimes you just got to let something go out the window.
So I like this one about her legacy because, I often think at 60 years old, what's my legacy? What are people going to say about me? We are at the last beginning to relegate to the history books the idea of the token woman. That is a major, major stroke when you look at, and we just recently celebrated the anniversary of the day that women could vote. It's unfathomable to me, it just doesn't make sense. But yet that was the biggest segregation ever. The women just didn't get counted.
So I want to talk about this on dissent because I think it's important to understand how she talked about an opposing opinion, how she put herself out there. But on dissent and justice, dissent speaks to a future age. It's not simply to say my colleagues are wrong and I would do it this way. But the greatest dissents do become court opinions, and gradually over time, their views become the dominant view. So that's the dissenter's hope, that they are writing not for today, but for tomorrow. That is the philosophy behind that, the forward thinking, the understanding of not arguing just because you think you have a better way to do it, but because you're actually trying to create movement and change forward. It's a conversation I'm having with a lot of people within their organizations, which is really awesome.
So I'm going to pivot the conversation based on where we are. On Sunday, I sent an article, an Inc. magazine article, to Lisa from, who's the CEO of Royal Caribbean, Kim Swears, Lori Salarillo. That was a study done that employees have a harder time taking direction from a woman than they do from a man, which, and even Kathleen Cannon, who said she hasn't experienced it. Some of the others have, but I don't think people realize what it is to wake up a woman with a mind and an idea and a drive, and there is always that, and this was a woman who was living proof of it, that she could become what she was. And so what a tragic loss. Really,
We'll go with the
a
last
loss.
one. The last quote on leadership. Fight for the things you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. I mean, that's unbelievably well said, and understanding to keep your emotions out of it. Do what you love, fight for the things you believe in, but do it in a way that you can get others to understand and be able to articulate it to them in a way to get them to follow with you.
As we relate that to how we live our lives, the reality is a lot of people have an opinion, are afraid to say it and share it and do it. That incongruence, Gary Vee talks about. Listen, find out what you're good at. And if you're good at something and you love to do it, then that's where your purpose, and it'll lead us right into our conversation later on today. But she had a passion to do something. She didn't let anything get in her way. And just, these role models I love, and so will sorely be missed. I will be interested to see the documentaries and the legacy pieces that people put together on her life.
There's a great interview with Katie Couric. I think it was from 2016, where Katie went into her home and they actually went through her closet. So it's always cool to get to see into somebody's closet that way. And she was known for her collar pieces that she would wear. She had one when she was going to differ. She had one when she was going to, announce the majority decision. So just super cool. If you don't know a lot about her, I really enjoy digging in and getting a bunch of research done on her. So I highly suggest that you do that. And shout out to RBG. Rest in peace. Thank you for all that you did to us. And without further ado, we will now get to the wall of shame.
So I'm really hopeful that we get to a day that we do not have a wall of shame, but that's not happening, man. I need help a Hall of Fame. I got no Hall of Fames. I got stacks, and yes, I'm printing them for those of you who are like me and like to print the shit and read it like a real human being. I got plenty, but it's your takeover day, so I'll only go with one.
And it's funny because, I started to really just accumulate all of them, and the wall of shame is just, you've got, numbers upon numbers. I've actually started to go back to some of just my old conversations to scroll to see how they started, to see if there's anybody who's worth shouting out, because it's hard to find.
It's hard.
But
so you want me to go first?
This wall of shame comes from Dean. Hey, Mark. You showed up on my LinkedIn suggestions to connect. We have a few connections in common. Should we connect directly? ... Please accept my invitation to connect. If I showed up in the suggestions and you came to my page, didn't you see anything that made you hit the connect button? Or are you just hitting connect to everybody that LinkedIn suggests for you?
Why this is so foreign to people, I don't understand. I mean, because if you duplicate human behavior, we've all been to an event where there's other people. You don't walk in there and go, hey, I happen to see your name on the wall. Like, what?
Really good. It's a really good.
Doesn't
really
make
good
sense. It just doesn't make sense, man. It's like use a little bit of thinking here, All right, so here's a doozy, because you can't make this shit up. So on my block where I live, there is a small little clothing boutique where a guy does private tailoring and stuff like that. I went in there when I first moved in. Obviously, I'm a Bob Goldfarb fan, so I look, but I don't touch. Just like living my life that way. But so I meet this guy. It doesn't appeal to me. That was 4 years ago. Yesterday, I get a LinkedIn request from this gentleman, and I won't even mention his name because I don't need to embarrass anybody. But Steve, I want to make you aware of my existence. Really. I live a block away from you, you idiot. I walk by your store every day when I go to and you didn't do shit when I met you in person. You didn't follow up. You didn't do anything. You just think that this is a passive way to meet a lot of people, and you are in on the wall. Boom.
So last one for the day. Corey comes into my world, just expanding my online networks during these times. What do you do? Do you know that we are on LinkedIn and you can look at my page?
What do you do? I don't know.
Exactly what I do.
I landed on the planet.
I'd like to tagline. You can go look at the company that I work for. You can do all of that right then and there, and actually tell me that you're trying to connect because of something, not just randomly trying to expand your network in these times.
So let's just throw it out there. You know, if you're hitting me with, I randomly came across your name, I'd like to learn more about you. Those are instant shade. You have the big X, you know, because I think it's important. Bam. These are the X's. They don't work.
Make it personal. Driving home. So we're telling you what doesn't work. Make it personal, right? There is a reason. There is something you can find in that profile to use it to connect. And that is how you end up in the Hall of Fame.
Love it.
Standing in the Hall of Fame, and the world's gonna know your name.
So, Mark, do you believe you belong in the Hall of Fame?
You know, I think I earn the ability to get it.
Attaboy.
Good answer. I don't know if I belong there or not, but I know that I'm willing to do the work every day to get the opportunity.
I love the song. I love singing it, baby. Boom.
All right. Ryan comes into my world. I saw your background in football coaching and thought you could be a good connection in providing info and contacts for student athletes that I help get recruited. Bang. Thank you. Absolutely.
What was hard about that?
Well done, Ryan. Absolutely willing to help him in his recruiting business, because I'm always looking to help kids get to the next level and understand the recruiting process.
Couple of folks I haven't seen in a while I want to shout out. Helen, my old running partner, great to see you in the huddle this morning. James Vengoni, Miami Worldwide, good to see you in the huddle this morning. So I have a Hall of Famer, Kevin Waters, asked him the same question. Hi, Steve, a colleague of mine at Learfield IMG, which is John Tull, and today John Tull makes his appearance on Tell Me Something Good, posted a video saying how you've been a great source of motivation and positivity. I appreciate the connection. Bing. Hall of Fame.
Well done. Well done.
Played. Well played.
The last Hall of Fame for the day comes from Ina. Hi, Mark. Love what you do. Love to be inspired by others and share. Thanks for the consideration of connecting. Ina. Done. Want to be inspired? Know that I'm putting stuff out there that's valuable, wants to share in it. I'm in for that. Well done. Thank you, Ina. And so I've started to put together another category of what would you do? Because sometimes I get them coming in and I'm like, you know, this is close. They're trying. And so I'll even ask Gabby, I'll be like, what would you do with this? So I'm putting together a little list of what would you do? And we'll talk about that one day.
I love it. I want to shout out to Jim Barrett. He is the executive producer of the show. Shay, he's giving you direction. When we do the X, we have to have the Richard Dawson effect. That is absolutely good. I will tell you, Jim has been the inspiration and the point of great ideas. So way to go, brother. Thank you.
All right, getting into our last bit of content for the day. McKinsey put out, and we talk about McKinsey all the time. And if you guys aren't connected to them, aren't following them, aren't subscribing to their content, you should, because they are doing unbelievable research and putting out great studies on a daily basis. But they put one out that says, do you know your life's purpose? And they did a bunch of research. They interviewed a bunch of people. They surveyed a bunch of people to find out that essentially people's behaviors can get categorized into 9 individual types of purposes. So we're going to talk about those 9, and then they broke up the personalities that you are into 3 based on how important each of those things are. So, Dad, do you have it in front of you?
The 9 types of individual purpose. Is that what you'd be talking
Yeah,
about?
we'll start with that, and we'll go into each one and just kind of talk about what the behaviors are. But you can start with achievement.
Well, back up 1 second. I mean, one of the things
Sure.
I really took away from this, which it's interesting. You and I both zeroed in on this article. McKinsey's putting out great stuff. What do we pay for the McKinsey stuff, Mark?
I actually have no idea. I don't even know.
We pay nothing. We pay nothing. This is their give back. This is what McKinsey's doing to make the world smarter. And you're going to see me do lots of commentary on social media and lots of stuff. My TED Talk was all about, are we overloaded or whatever? That's a crock of shit, man. If you want to learn, there's so much at your fingertips. So my takeaway was that our research uncovered 3 common patterns based on these values: free spirit, achiever, and caregiver. And they basically built those silos, and are you like one of these? I mean, what is hard about that? We are all learning, and I love that. That is fantastic. Then they further break down, more characteristics. The first one is, purpose is achievement. I have always been an achiever. I score that way on everything else for one reason. I had a fear of being average when I was a kid. I did not want to be average. The whole thing now with the trophies for everybody, it makes my stomach turn, because it's just not the way you grew up. It's not the way winners grow up. And so, if you want to be an achiever, now you can set, my goals could be different than somebody else's. I'm not telling you need to be where I am or I need to be where someone else is.
Well, I think that's important when you talk about achievement. It's how do you define achievement? Some people define it as having a sense of authority. Some people define it as being an influential person within a group. Some people, it's high status. It's, high income. You have to define, look, people say, oh, well, money's not what's important. Not to everybody. Some people, that is what's important to them. And good for them. They want to go chase dollars all day long. If that's what makes them happy and they own that, they're able to find purpose and fulfillment in what they do. So achievement is one. Conservation is another, where it's working against threats. It's raising awareness and importance. It's caring for the environment. If you have conservation in your core, probably you're philanthropic. You want to get involved with, certain causes and certain things that help you give back and raise awareness for things.
So I love the way this roadmap goes. So I'm into freedom. Freedom is learning things for myself, which I've done. 6 years ago, I said, hey, I can see where this is going, where business people need to have personal brands, forming my own opinions, of which I'm about to do some work for Jerry Latrento. He is one of the people that pushes me, prods me, and makes me, hey, what do you think about this? And pushes me. So all of that creates freedom for me. Like, I don't need anybody else to validate what I think. That's an unbelievable place to be. Unbelievable.
And learning is absolutely at the foundation of freedom. So you have to take it upon yourself to learn. Caring is another one. Caring is super important to me, because caring means helping the people that are close to me, right? If I'm doing business with people, they're close to me. My family is close to me. So sacrificing for my loved ones, being responsible for the needs of my family and my friends, and helping the people that are close to me. That's why I enjoy coaching, because that's what I love to do. Caring is a big thing for me.
And then I know we're getting late, what a fun morning, but the sum up achievers, this is in the article, achievers find purpose in accumulating social or material resources. Look at what we're doing here. This is creating social resources. They often find meaning in self-improvement. So wow.
There you go.
Wow.
There's achievers, right? And then caregivers is being able to help others or mentor colleagues, a work-life balance that provides opportunities to respond to the needs of family and friends, a sense of security and order. And then there's one more that we can talk about. But if you guys are struggling with what you're doing, with where you are, if you feel like you're in the dog days, you got to get back to your core. You got to identify the things that are true to you, that what really matters, and then align your activities and what you do with that. So shout out to Yvonne.
Way to bring it home. Way to bring it home, dude. Back to dog days. I love it. We got to say goodbye, because this man has an 8:30 coaching call.
Stay on the ball. Have a great
And washed it away.